Welcome back in, guys. Hope everybody enjoyed the All-Star break and all the All-Star festivities, everything that was going on with that. Obviously, the All-Star game falling apart. They're trying to figure that out, but hope you guys found a way to enjoy it. We had one big day of games yesterday. Hopefully, you guys been following on Instagram. John broke down pretty much every single game throughout the week on John Massa and Massa Edge accounts. So you follow those on Instagram. We got a lot of those teams going again today. Second day back from the break. A lot of teams on back-to-back playing on no rest. So that's going to be a common theme of the topic for today. But, of course, as if you guys bet the All-Star game, anything like that, put that in the comments below. Let us know. As always, like, comment, subscribe below. John, how'd the week off treat you? And we can talk a little bit about that crazy slate yesterday.
Well, the week off treated me horribly, as I was just telling Ben. I was almost catfished. Being a single guy again, very tough, especially with being in the sports business. Look, that's why I laugh. These guys, they call themselves handicappers, and they're out every single day. They're golfing in the day. They're out at strip clubs at night. They're everywhere. We spend 16 hours a day working here, crunching numbers. So as I said, very tough. Tried the online dating thing, and wound up seeing a real pretty girl, or what I thought was a real pretty girl, turned out to look like my mother. But anyway, that's how my week went, and it went right into the second half of the All-Star break like that. So if you guys also follow my page, John Massa, on Instagram, you know we're trying to transition over to Massa Edge. So follow us there for our sports betting information. I'm going to make John Massa my personal page. The reason I put the Bradley Beal video on that page, Ben was in flight last night coming home from his vacation. So the information we got, guys, this is what we go by. It's information. And we get information 3 days ago now that Bradley Beal was going to play yesterday, only for him to be downgraded to out just before the game. This has just been the way it goes. We bet the Pelicans. The next day, Brad Ingram has an illness. But just to show you how insane the year has been, we bet the Nets plus 2.5. That line closes 1. We lose by 101. We bet the Suns plus 3. That game closes 2. Even though Beal is out, again, we lose by double digits. And the game that we win is the only game that the line goes against us, and it only went against us because Ingram was out. So here's a game that we laid 7. The game closes 6.5. Obviously, Ingram worth more than a half a point. So if he played, that game would have closed 8.5. Anyway, this is what we've been facing all year. It's just been absolutely brutal. And again, I tell the guys, I know you're tired of hearing it, but I hold up my end of the bargain. We beat the number every game, every day, unless there's a late injury, and that's all I can do. Other than that, guys, like I said, for the guys that don't want to follow us, go follow some kid picking 6 fucking leg parlays, and good luck to you.
We got a massive slate today, and like John said, a lot of injuries. We can go ahead and start diving in. A lot of back-to-back, so more injuries could be added later on throughout the day. You guys want that information, sign up massaedge.com or download the Massa Edge app. Top game on the card starts with the injuries. Capella, he's been missing games. He's coming back, going to be on a minutes restriction, and Okongwu, other big man, he is going to remain out. So you have this Atlanta team who's going to be depleted a bit in the interior, but Toronto, that's kind of been their weakness since all these trades they've made, coming off a big win against the Nets last night. The Hawks are figuring out before the All-Star break there. They started playing a little bit better, then they started to regress again, end up losing 4 of the last 6. They have been solid at home, 5-2 the last 7 home games. And as far as the matchup history, Raptors, they took 4 of the last 5 trips to Atlanta. Spot here is a little bit all Atlanta, just as far as everything else with a big win last night from Toronto. Hawks not playing, so spots all Hawks. Raptors maybe in a little bit of a letdown from last night. Can they come back around on a back-to-back, get it done? They're 3-7 against the spread on back-to-backs. Will be Hawks or nothing, but don't make the number this high for me.
Give me 1 sec, Ben. Just checking some late infos out. Okay, let's see how Toronto's going to react in a back-to-back. Toronto, after winning last night, do they want to make a push for the playoffs? So if they do, They're 4.5 games behind the 10 seed Atlanta Hawks for that final play-in spot. These teams have met 3 times this year. Hawks taking 2, but the game in Atlanta, they only won by 1 this year. And last year, they won by 2. So the last couple of times in Atlanta, while they've lost Toronto's, lost only by a combined 3 points. Back-to-back, Ben told you, just 3-7 against the spread. So that's not so good, but a real cruise game. They won by 30 last night, so nobody too heavy with minutes. But again, we'll see. This is the NBA in 2024. Even though they're coming off a week rest, never know who's going to sit. So we wait for the injuries. But I think this number might be a little bit high at 7. So I would lean a little bit towards Toronto.
We got Cavs going at Philly. Both teams on back-to-back. Cavs coming off a loss at home to the Magic. You have 76ers coming off a loss against the Knicks. Cavs, they've been regressing a little bit. We saw that with the Clippers a bit before the end of the first half. They had that huge tear. Now Cavs going through a bit of the same thing. 1-2, 0-3 against the spread their last 3 games. They have been getting it done on the road, though. 9-1, 7-3 the last 10 road games. And pretty good revenge spot on this one. I mean, one of the only wins Philly has had in this last little sequence without Embiid has been against Cleveland. That was when Cleveland was firing on all cylinders. Sixers not getting it done at home. Cavs getting it done on the road. If Mitchell goes tonight, would like Cleveland a little bit of a revenge spot in this one.
Yeah, I make this number higher if Mitchell plays. Now, Mitchell, he had an illness. They threw up a questionable tag on him, but he was at the shoot-around yesterday. So you would think he was going to play yesterday. He doesn't. So let's see if he's going to play today. But with Mitchell, absolutely, this line's got to be higher. I cannot believe how much Philadelphia misses Embiid. I mean, we're talking he's in Jokic territory right now. Since Embiid, Embiid missed a bunch of different games at different parts of the year, but now 6-15 in the 21 games without Embiid. This team was rated right up there early in the season with Embiid, and now I've got to say I've got them about 8 points off of where their high number was. So again, this is like Jokic territory a couple of years ago when he was playing without his Robin, so to speak, in Murray. So just no way do I want Philly. They've dropped 6 of 8. All 6 of them have been at home. So a once reliable home team at the early part of the season just want no part of Philly. If Mitchell's in, Cavs are nobody.
Then we have Washington at OKC. Wizards coming off a loss last night at Denver. They get blown out by 20. Poole, they moved him to the bench. Didn't help. Shot 4 of 17. Then you have this Thunder team coming off a big win. They own the Clippers, and they continue to do that last night. Beat them by 22 at home. As far as OKC, they won their last 3 in a row now, playing good ball. They've been elite at home this season. They're solid on back-to-backs. Really big number here. And lean ever so slightly to the Wizards in this one. They just cover on the road. Maybe a little bit of a letdown here for the Thunder after getting it done versus the Clippers, especially with all that with SGA and the former team, everything else. So big number on this one. Could only want Wizards, second best road team against the spread in the NBA.
Second best road team against the spread in the NBA. OKC, one of your best teams right now. After last night, let me just go into that. So there's a couple of things that we learned. Or can I say emphasized on what I had already known. Yeah. Boston's the best team in the NBA. They fell asleep a little bit before the halftime. Bulls had the lead. The Celtics came out and just destroyed them in the second half. OKC, we put the post up yesterday, 11-1 straight up, 10-2 against the spread last 12 meetings in OKC against the Clippers. But I mean, just this team is now they are the second best team in the NBA next to the Celtics, the best team in the West. I've got them rated the best team in the West. They're there. They're there this year. They don't have to wait anymore. They're ready for it. SGA just, I don't know, write him in for 30 a game. Yeah. This kid's unbelievable. So they're playing great basketball. But as Ben said, is this a fall asleep game when you're going to go from playing the Clippers, one of your main competition in the West, to playing a Wizard team, one of the worst in the league, despite their fantastic against the spread record. Now, if you saw my videos, like I said, I made a video for each game, and we posted them on Instagram because we weren't doing the podcast. I can't do podcasts without Ben's help. Ben was away on vacation. But as I said, you've got the Pistons, Wizards, Spurs. Those three teams will be fighting for last place. Just can't play any of these three teams in the second half as they all look for that number one draft pick. Last night, all three played, all three lost. Just the Spurs covering this the Sacramento Kings. So again, not interested in the Wizards here, but it would be Wizards and nobody. Just don't see OKC getting up. With that being said, OKC has blasted their last three opponents, winning last night by 22 over the Clippers and winning their two prior games against the Kings and Magic by 14 each. So could they come out and absolutely blast Wizards? They sure can, and that's why I'm not taking the Wizards, although I'd say it would be Wizards and nobody.
Yeah, it could also be worth a look in the over in that game. One of your top scoring teams, just one of the worst defenses in the NBA. We got Suns at Houston, and this next one, Suns coming off a loss at Dallas last night. Beal, he ended up not playing. He's going to be out again tonight. And then for Houston, Fred VanVleet, he came back. Got to see if he's going to be going for the Rockets again today after missing a stretch of time. Houston really not playing good ball right now. 1-6, 2-5 against the spread their last 7. Then they have this Suns team who started to figure it out. It looked like they got healthy, got right. Next thing you know, just 2-2 the last 4. Granted, Beal missing a few of these games. So not always 100%. A tough team to back if they're not 100%. Would be a lean here to Houston, who does play a bit better at home. We'll see if they get up. Have to see if VanVleet's in this game.
Ben, not a bit better at home. I mean, they're one of the better home teams against the spread in the NBA, and they're one of the worst on the road. So while they've dropped 6 of their last 7, all 6 losses were on the road. The one game that they won, that was a home game, a 2-point win over the Knicks. So they've been a different team at home. Phoenix, without Beal, they're back-to-back. Phoenix, one of the shortest benches in the NBA. Can only like the Rockets here if everybody plays. But like Ben said, VanVleet, first game back after missing 4 or 5 before the All-Star break. Want to make sure he's back to play today. If he is, I'd take the Rockets plus the 4.5 that it's up to now.
If Clippers at Memphis, they're coming off that loss at OKC last night. Does anyone get a rest here for them on the back-to-back, playing a should be easy win against this shorthanded Memphis team? Memphis, they had lost 9 in a row before the break until they upset Milwaukee as big 14-point dogs. We'll see if they have anything else in the tank to go back-to-back on those. As far as the matchup history, it's been Clippers recently. I mean, Memphis gave them a fight, but this isn't the same Memphis team. Clippers so far, they've won 2 or 3 meetings this season. Big number here for a team on a back-to-back on a travel would be Memphis or nobody in this game. But again, another one of these bottom-tier teams against a top-tier team. It's a complete mismatch. Spot just belongs to the Grizzlies, them or nobody.
Yeah, you know what? I hate to say this, but to me, it's Clippers and nobody. I think the Clippers might want to come out and get right after going into the All-Star break not so good and getting blown out last night. So 2-3 straight up, 1-4 against the spread, their last 5 games. These are the teams you got to beat if you want to be at the top of that very competitive Western Conference. My numbers make this game more like 14 if everybody. That's before considering the back-to-back for the Clippers. And again, are you going to let Kawhi, Paul George, you're going to let these guys play in a back-to-back when you're playing a Memphis team? Don't take Memphis fucking lightly. Milwaukee went in there the game before the break and as a 14-point dog went down outright. So to me, I make the game a little higher, but obviously it's all about the injuries. Memphis will get all their guys back. Remember, that 14-point victory, they played without Triple J, without half of their guys anyway. It was basically a G League team, and don't see Memphis being trying to go for too many wins. They'll pick their spots here. So, yeah, Clippers or nobody for me. Again, we'll wait on the injury.
We have Bucks at Minnesota. Interesting matchup. It's just see how the Bucks come out of the All-Star break. You had Damian Lillard, who lived up All-Star weekend, 3-point champion, All-Star game MVP. Obviously, has had all the off-court issues this season, the divorce, moving families, everything, this and that. Maybe he's finding a love for basketball a bit. More importantly, though, new coach, middle of the season. That guy, Doc Rivers, 3-7 start to his tenure here in Milwaukee. He needed a week off. He needed a week to kind of revamp everything, get to some X's and O's. This is that part of the year. We saw the Lakers do it last year. They take a massive stride at this point of the year, go for 2 months. Milwaukee needs that starting now. And coming off that loss to Memphis, this is a game to show up for. So I'm interested to see how they show up in this one. Can't back them. They're playing horrible basketball right now, 1-5 straight up against spread their last 6 road games. But they have won and covered 4 last 5 trips to Minnesota. Big proven game for Doc Rivers and Milwaukee to start the second half.
Huge. This is a huge game. Doc's taking heat all over ESPN. JJ Redick getting on him, and for good reason. If you've been a follower, you know Doc's nothing special. Mm-hmm. Some of these guys get jobs just because they've had the job before. He doesn't deserve it, and they went and proved it, 3-7. But the last game was an absolute disgrace. Going to Memphis, playing a G League team, and getting beat as a 14-point favorite. They need to rebound. So this is a double spot for them. Not only did they lose as a 14-point favorite, they Timberwolves went into Milwaukee and blew them out by 24 points. So great revenge spot. They've had all week to stew on Doc Rivers being called the most overrated coach. The team itself, Rivers calling out the players, saying they checked out. Some guys were here, some guys were in Cabo. What does Lillard was so inconsistent the first half? Can he pick up where he left off in the All-Star break? This is, to me, it's Milwaukee or nobody because it's such an important game for them. Great. Would I be shocked if they get beat by double digits by the team that allows the fewest points in the NBA, the Timberwolves? No, I wouldn't, but I'd have to go with the Bucks in this one just because it's a more important game to them.
Absolutely is. We'll see how they show up tonight. We got Nuggets at Portland next. They had that 2-game set in Denver a few weeks back. Portland ended up covering both of those games, lost both of those games. And as far as the last 4 meetings in Portland, they're 3-1 against the spread. Jokic last night, my goodness, 21 points, 19 boards, 15 dime shot, perfect, 10 of 10. Just absolutely magnificent game last night. Granted against the Wizards, but still got it done in their 20-point beatdown there. And then you have this Portland team, just was playing bad before the break, lost 6 straight, 0-4 against the spread at home. And the injuries with them always have to be checking it out. Henderson, he's going to be out. Brogdon and Sharp also remain out. So missing a lot of guard depth here for Portland. Could be looking at Simons and Grant in those props.
So these two teams, they met for a 2-game set in Denver just prior to the All-Star break. Denver winning both, but not covering either. And they have usually have a tough time going up to Portland. The last 4 times up there, they split the last 4 games, but 3-1 Portland is against the spread at Portland. But there's another team, Portland, just don't want any part of them. Yep. Denver, are they going to sit anybody in the second night of back-to-back? You heard Ben joking, 10 for 10 from the field with another triple-double. Look, the guy just gets it done. He's the best player. He's the most valuable player. I don't want to say the best, the most valuable player in the NBA. Embiid, like I says, the more and more the 76ers are without him, you can make a case for him. But, hey, you can't be an MVP if you're only going to play 40 games. So, Denver, in this game, could they be sitting guys on the tail end of a back-to-back? Very possibly. Just no way do I want Portland in this spot.
We have 2 of your hotter teams in the NBA right now, the Charlotte Hornets of all teams and the Golden State Warriors. Hornets get it done at Utah last night. First time since 2006, and they have now won 4 straight games going back to before the break, obviously. And the Warriors, they get the blessing of the Lakers without LeBron. They took care of business, beat them last night at home. As far as the matchup history, they split the last 3 seasons, home team winning each game. This is Charlotte or nobody. I mean, you could argue definitely a little bit of a letdown spot after the win at Utah. Tough little travel, but feels like a little bit of a sandwich spot here for Golden State. You get it done against the Lakers. You get the Hornets in town. And next thing you know, you have to go and you host the Denver Nuggets. So Warriors might be looking a little bit on a Denver in this one. Hey, they need every win they can get. Obviously, Curry with his dad and the Charlotte ties. So maybe there's something to that with him getting up for this one. But either way, Hornets playing good ball right now. A lot of points in this game. Would be Hornets or nothing in this one with the look ahead to Denver coming in.
Yeah, we'll get a little brother matchup here as the other Curry brother got traded to Charlotte just at the trade deadline. Charlotte playing their best basketball of the season since they traded Terry Rozier and Ball is out. That tells you what the NBA season's been all about this year. So they hadn't won since 2006 in Utah, so that could be a little bit of a letdown as well. Podzinski, I mean, look, first of all, let me say how this kid Podzinski, so underrated. He's taken the most charges in the NBA this year. Hasn't even played that much till recently. They moved him into the start lineup. Now, him and Clay, when they moved Clay to the bench, awful shooting performances last night. So you might think these guys might want to heat up against what should be chicken soup. Last 6 times they've met over the last 3 years, each team has won each game at home. So Charlotte gives them a good fight, but usually in Charlotte. So tough spot for both teams. Tough spot for Golden State to come back off that game against the Lakers last night. Remember, it was a big revenge game. They got beat by the Lakers in Golden State earlier before the All-Star break in a double revenge, in a double overtime game, and they got knocked out by the Lakers in the playoffs in the second round last year. So they come off of that. Can they get up for this one? Is this one? Some guys get some rest for Golden State before they go on to their next game. Big number. We'll wait to see the lineup. I'm not laying 13, though, on the road. But like I said, look for Clay and Podzinski to step up. And I can't say enough about because I talk badly about Dre because I hate his antics. Beverly's antics. These are antics to me. They're not NBA players. But I can't emphasize it, what he's meant to the team. Yeah. So I don't like him personally, but what he's done, how much better go look at what Curry's shooting since he's back from his suspension. They're a different team, Golden State, and look, they're not top 4,